Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Trader Minute. It's great to have you on board. And let's wrap this day up. And before we get going here, we're going to go make a trade. And I thought of adding more to Qualcomm. Qualcomm's doing really well, but then I I got talking with Jeff, and the financials look good too. So we're going to hold our position at Qualcomm, and we're also going to make a trade here for the Vibe. It's not a challenge trade. It's a trade for the Vibe on Morgan Stanley. Uh, Again, the financials look really strong. This is one of my top three today, and I know someone was asking me if I was going to make a trade on my top three. Well, I take it back. Going to make a trade on the top three. We're going to go out and buy Morgan Stanley, and I'm going to go. This is a Vibe entrance, and I'm going to buy 10 contracts for the January $30 calls. It's two strikes in the money. The 10 contracts, the January $30 calls, somewhere around 187 is where we're looking to get in. So we got filled at 186. Got filled at $1.86 on Morgan Stanley. We bought 10 contracts for January at the $30 strike price. The January $30 calls, 10 contracts, and we paid $1.86 for those. All right, so let's go back and over and review this trade. First of all, you look through the financials. And we looked at Goldman Sachs, right? And remember, when the financials are strong, usually the market's strong, and we had seen a strong turnaround today. The financials have been strong most of the day. They're kind of a canary in the coal mine. When the financials are strong, the market's weak. Usually the market doesn't stay weak for long, and vice versa. When they're weak and the market's strong, they usually don't take off without the market. Okay, they're taking off. There's Goldman Sachs, a nice run. We got Citigroup, a nice run here today. Big run on Citi. It just got too far away from the 7. And then also, Bank of America, we don't even need to look at that. That's just been flying. It flew yesterday. It's flying again today. But Morgan Stanley was the nicest setup out of them all. Closer to the 7. It's just about a trend rider bull signal as well as a vibe bull signal here. So that's why we went with Morgan Stanley. The options are good, are fairly inexpensive at this point for two strikes in the money where we're buying right now. So good risk reward setup. The stop's going to be on the 7-day moving average. It's about right where it opened today. Okay, so again, we just jumped into Morgan Stanley, bought 10 contracts for the January $30 calls. Okay, so Iggy, yes, we are going to hold Qualcomm today. It's down 30 cents. It was down close to 90 at one point. It's come back well off the lows. Going to hold this $73 level. This is setting up very nice. I thought of adding more to it. Jeff and I thought of adding more to Qualcomm. Just decided to get another trade on the table there, or we would have added here. But very bullish setup to see it sell like that, come back. I think a couple things going on here. Had a really nice looking setup. I was not here for this trade. A nice looking bullish setup at a trend rider bull signal going in upper band. What happened here? Caught into the selling action of yesterday, sold off. Caught into a little bit of today, sold off, but has come back as the markets come back. This has had a nice comeback today and still holding on to that $73 level. So we're going to hold here for more upside potential. And I think, and Jill, I believe you were talking about it a little bit earlier on. If you're out there. Yeah, I think the volume, and we talked about it even yesterday, and I know Jeff has brought it about early in the week during the Christmas holidays. The volumes are always light, but with New Year's being on a Wednesday, there's just, I know I have still some friends that are still on vacation, even though school started here. Yeah, a lot of the market's not back yet, and then also, and you never know, but on CNBC, I go in there occasionally, look through the website during the day, and there's some articles saying that, with the big blizzard back there, a lot of the traders aren't even there today. And so add into a holiday season and a big blizzard like that, a lot of people, we will, so the volumes are a little bit lighter today. So yeah, we're going to be holding Qualcomm. Let's take a look at Boeing. Boeing's up $1.12. It's off the highs, but still, no, we're going to hold. Their vote ends tonight, so we'll find out over the weekend what happens that. But Jeff's done a lot of research into Boeing recently and into that vote and what's going to take place there and what's likely to happen. If they happen to move the operation, it's going to be a plus for the company, not for the economy there, for Boeing, the local economy there. But overall, he feels that really either way, the most likely scenario is bullish. Get the vote behind us, and keep it going. So we're going to be holding Boeing as well. All right. So just a quick review of the top three. First one was Morgan Stanley, which we just entered a trade on. Next one, Hewlett Packard, which is another good setup today. Yeah, this is a bull vibe signal, and it looks really good. Okay, so another one here, Hewlett Packard, another nice bull vibe entrance right here. Also confirmation of a three methods rising pattern right here today. Looks to run up towards a $30 area. Nice looking setup on Hewlett Packard. And the last of the top three was United Healthcare. Now this has pulled back a little bit. It's To me it just weakens a little bit. The odds are still favoring that it's likely to go higher. It just selling off a little bit like this at the close. It just weakens it a little bit that it might not run right away. Okay, that's with United Healthcare, and I try to get these the top three as close to the bell as I can because I'd like to see where they're going to close. But we always like to wrap the day up, so we do it about an hour before the close. So just if you've listened to me long enough, you know that I always say watch them into the close, and this one's weakening slightly. It's still again a decent looking signal, but just the odds of it running are slightly less. But again, the odds favor here for a run than going the opposite direction. It still looks strong. Okay. And then another one that is looking at here today was Bank of New York Mellon, BK. A nice little reversal yesterday. This is a bull vibe signal as well. Got a candle here. It gaps lower, runs back up to the 7 to close above the 7. Today it's opened at the 7 and pushing higher. It's not at the highs, but it's a very strong looking bullish signal right here. This could run up towards the $37 area. I'll give these stocks a couple dollars, but 37 would be pretty doable on that. And on this one, you just use the 7 as a stop if you're looking at that, but it's another good looking 7. Not part of my top three. Morgan Stanley just dropped 10 cents. Okay, yeah, doesn't really change anything for a slight pullback like that. Still looking for this to run higher. It's still a nice signal. The financials are a good group right now, so not worried about it. Okay. Let's see. Any stocks you want to look at, just go ahead and put those in there. Another one I want to look at here is Deere. And it's selling off a little bit here. But yeah, with Deere to get aggressive on Deere long at this point after that huge run, that's the only thing that's got me a little bit hesitant is the big run there. I'm going to need it to break up about 91.50, and that's that high, probably the high around right at this point right there from the candlestick from a couple days ago. So I wouldn't get in there. Okay, Dollar General. Yeah, top three from yesterday was higher earlier on. It sold off to form a little bit of a a little bit of a gravestone. A little bit of a run here. I don't know if it's going to be one of the more accurate, just the placement here of the gravestone. It's going to be one of the more accurate ones. And the volume here it's a gravestone on lighter volume. Looking over here, another gravestone like that, and that was probably one of the shortened trading days. That last gravestone up there was a shortened trading day, so the volume looks extremely light. That's the day before Christmas is when that was. So that's a shortened day of trading, so I wouldn't really count much on that one. But yeah, I'd give this to the 7. I mean, Originally, when I put it in on my top three here, the stop was on the open of that day. It wasn't on the 7. If you want to be a little bit tighter stop on that, put it on the 7. But I don't think I'd get out here. Watch it come next week. The volume's going to return and everything next week. I wouldn't get out of that yet if I was in a position on Dollar General. Target for Morgan Stanley, 33 to 35 is where not 35. Sorry, 33 to 33.50 is where I'd put Morgan Stanley. 33 to 33.50. Medtronic, yeah, here's one of those gap and runs. Nice, nice gap. I didn't check the news on this. Just seeing it here. Likely some sort of news where you see that incredible volume like that, a gap higher, and it's holding that. So if you're in the trade, congratulations. As far as getting into a trade now, no, got to let it settle down a little bit and see where this is going to settle out after some profit taking kicks in. But C-Trip. So if I pulled out a trend rider, yeah, the bands are a little bit far apart, but yeah, from the upper bands right to the lower bands. Be interesting to watch around this level to see if this level can hold. But another stock with a lot of volume, over $4 away from the 7-day moving average, just too far to make any type of a trade here. If I had puts, I'd look to see if there is news on this. It still looks weak, but I couldn't argue getting out of a put with that being so far away from the moving average at this point. It might continue to run, but if you happen to be in a put and got that nice gain like that today, I wouldn't be opposed to just taking it off. ClearSign, yeah, this is one of those just big time pullbacks. Down 6.5%. It probably did the same thing yesterday. Pretty big day yesterday as well. Yeah, there's no any type of a entrance right here. I wouldn't buy puts on it. It's a long ways off from the 7 right there, over $1, about $1 away from the 7. Too early to buy puts. I'm sorry, too late to buy puts, too early to buy calls. Huge run right here. I'm just wondering if that's just some profit taking kicking in. If it is, watch for 10 to hold and look for it to hold and consolidate around 10 and then push back up to 7, up above the 7. But right now, no type of an entrance there. Buys and puts, same thing. I couldn't argue getting out around this range. Check and see if there's any news on it to see why it's dropping like that. It's a low volume stock, so I don't know if it would even have options. If it does, the spreads would be pretty wide here. Okay. Celgene. All right, just looking at this, I put on the vibe. Had a bull vibe signal yesterday. All the averages rising. This little bit of today, it's down $1.73. It sounds like a lot. It's down at 1%. It's still above the 7. It's still above 170. I wouldn't get out here if I had calls on this. I wouldn't get out. If it closed below the 7, distinct close below the 7, then I'd look to get out. But right now, it's no. Most stocks, right, when they break a level of resistance, and this is one of the bigger numbers, 170, they're likely to retest that area. And it's doing it today. Sometimes it might take a few days, sometimes it takes a week, sometimes it doesn't come back. But here it's coming back to 170. I'd say as long as 170 holds, I'd stay in the trade on Celg if you're in it. If I'm not in it, I'd wait till Monday and see if I can get a bounce here up off 170 again. Okay, that would be the signal that I'd look. You could try to anticipate it here, but a little bit more conservative. Just wait till Monday and see if you can get a bounce up off 170. Okay. If your spreads are worthless, yeah, you're not gonna unless you short, you didn't short these options, right? The spreads are, if it's worthless, then it's nothing's going to happen to you there. You got long options. No, if your long options are completely worthless, then they're not expiring in the money. They're gone. Okay, Dollar General. No, same thing. I'm not sure if he was there for it, so I'll just explain it again. Dollar General, yeah, it's up a little bit. It's above the $61 level. I'd give this thing at least, it's got, if a break of 61 in the 7, I'd exit. Now, this was a top 3 of mine yesterday, and the stop was on the open of yesterday. So way down here, about 61.50 is a stop. Try to let this thing work. It's still above a 7. Yeah, it's a gravestone doji. It's not after that big of a run, but I'd give it at least that to let this trade work. I wouldn't just bail right here. It was up a little bit earlier, sold off. It's still up above that past level of resistance there. So I'd look at this come Monday if I was in here. First Solar. This has come back off the lows, quite a bit off the lows. It's only down 63 cents now. It was down a lot more than that earlier. Same thing. I would not get out of this. It might be down a little bit on the options at this point, but I wouldn't get out. The stop here is at the 7-day moving average. That would be my stop, and I'd let the same can't work for me come Monday. Okay. Express Scripts. Okay, so I'm not sure if you're in this one, calls on it, or if you're waiting to get in. If I'm waiting to get in, the signal that I like, you see how far it's gotten away from the 7 at times. It gets a long ways away from the 7. Now it's just slight pullback, some consolidation coming back to the 7 here. What I look for an entrance signal would be here come Monday, a bounce back up off of 70. And if it can close above the high of this candle right there, would confirm not only a 3-method rising pattern, it would give you a bull vibe signal, and would be a great looking signal. But I wouldn't enter anything right here. I wouldn't buy puts. No, I wouldn't buy calls yet. I'd watch this Monday. If I'm in a trade on it, I'd still watch this level. It's just slightly closing below the 7. If that happened to be your stop, it's just right there. If it starts to break down on Monday, I'd probably get out. But right here, no. But for an entrance, look and see if it can't jump up for you on Monday. Okay, Vale. Vale, let me bring this in through a trend rider. Very close to a trend rider bear signal. It's got some big volumes on it. A lot of these stocks have been selling off recently with the big volumes, and it's breaking through a little bit of support here it's had at 14.5. It's breaking through that today on big volumes. Next level for this, there's really not that far below at 14. Appears to be a decent level for it. You can see how it hit it right through here. Resistance here, support over here. Be about next level. If I was in a trade on Vol, if I had puts on it, I'd hang in till about 14. See if I can't get that and let that go. Let that work for you. But as far as trying to enter a put right now, I wouldn't do it right now. But if I was in it, I wouldn't get out here. Okay, yeah, JC. Price line, okay, down about 11. Yeah, and this one's still in the lower Bollinger Band. If you're in this trade, it's had its moves today, all right, Slawick? Remember you saying earlier in the day it's been giving you headaches. And stocks do that. They don't just run straight down for us or straight up for us and make things nice and easy on our brains. They can move around a lot during the day, and and this one has moved around a lot and selling off here towards the close. Well, we've got about 7 minutes left. So you happen to be in it, stay in it till it closes back inside that upper Bollinger Band. The lower Bollinger Band there. I'm looking at it on a chart, and we talked about this yesterday when I put on my top 3. It's got a double top pattern here, right? Not the prettiest one in the world, but there's a double top pattern. For a double top pattern to confirm, it's got to break the valley between those two peaks. And that's what it did on Monday of this week, okay, when I was out. broke through that, confirmed it, but then the next day, you notice how it went up a little bit, basically hit that level to see if it's retesting the level, to see if it's going to hold as a new support level, which the very next day it did and bounced back down. That's where it went on my top three, was yesterday, based off a confirmed double top. Not only that, it retested the resistance as a new level of resistance there and bounced off of it yesterday in the lower Bollinger Band. So it went on the top three. And the price pattern there, 1200 down to about 1160. So there's about $40 there. That's where this is likely to go, down another $40. That puts us down to about the about the $1,110 mark is where that would go. But really looking at it on a chart, there's not much support slash resistance there anywhere, really down to about 1075. Now that's pretty darn aggressive to go that far. A little bit shorter term, 1225, 1125, down into that range right here. If you want to just make it easy, hey, just ride it until it closes back inside the lower Bollinger Band as a stop. Anywhere along the way, if you got a great profit and you decide to take it and run, I'm not going to argue with you. It's all about taking gains. It doesn't matter if they're small gains or large gains, you're making money either way. All right. WSM. Let's look at this through a vibe. So with the vibe, now this is one mainly what's got going here. It's got this ascending triangle pattern. It's a ways off from getting a tight squeeze here, but they don't always need a tight squeeze to break out. It just means it's likely to happen sooner than later. And see, it tried to break out above 59 here, and you notice when it did that, it was one big long shot up to it. This time you notice the bottom's getting higher and higher and higher as it's going up a little bit higher and higher. So the odds of this breaking are there. If you wanted to anticipate it, couldn't argue it. Had some big volumes yesterday. That's always a good sign to see. The volume's a little bit lighter today, but for the most part, the market's volume's lighter today. I'm not too worried about it. So this one might even give you till Monday to get into a trade, and just look for this to run up. I always push that wrong button, and hold something like that. So it's a clear break above it. If you can get the volume to back it, that would even be better. But yeah, this thing could run up 60, up probably here towards the recent highs, 60 and a half to $61 is where this one is likely to go. It looks like it might break that today, just slightly. A little bit more confirmation could come on Monday, but again, I couldn't argue getting in here in anticipation of a break, because it looks like it's likely to break out. Good stock. Apple, like it's going to close at the lows. Well, we've got 5 minutes, 3 minutes left in the trading day. It's pretty much at the low of 540. So watch this next week. Jeff talked about this at 550. Here we are at 540. Watch it next week and look for a bounce out of here. I'm not bearish on Apple. This is a big pullback, but watch it. It's got the 50-day average there, and it has the 50. So whenever you're looking at averages, and if they've been support or resistance, look back and see what it's done around the 50. You look at it here, yeah, it held it nicely. Here, it just kind of danced around it. Yeah, it held it right through here as a level of resistance. A little bit of support slash resistance through this area, right through there. So it's a decent level for it. Watch it come Monday and see if you can't get a bounce out of it. And I know there was already some people talking about lotto calls on Apple. Yeah, okay, I couldn't argue that. 64 target there. Verizon, and sorry, I got an email asking about Verizon, and I didn't look at my emails until just a little while ago. So thanks for bringing that up. Verizon. Now this is getting caught up in a war. AT&T trying to capture a big space in the wireless area, and it's caught in it. And it's all of them are down today. This AT&T, Sprint, T-Mobile, they're all down. They're caught up in this big war of AT&T offering about almost $500 in points for switching over from I believe it's T-Mobile. Uh, I'd have to read it again. Sorry, I'm bombarded with information today, but pretty bearish move on it. I mean, definitely a strong close below the 7, no doubt about that. Volumes, they're not big, but they're not small. They're pretty average, and that's a pretty good. That's it's quite a bit of volume today, especially on a lower volume day for the market. If I was in calls, this is one of those tough calls. I mean, it's closed so far below the 7. And now everything changes. Your risk changes now because you don't have as much money in the account, right? I mean, in that trade anymore, right? So the risk changes there. The delta likely shrunk on you here. So holding till Monday, it's not going to be like if it moves down a lot on Monday with a lower delta, you're not going to be risking a whole lot more. Um, and what are we on there? Well, it's a 100-day moving average, not one of the stronger averages as far as, but this has hit it a little bit here and there and held it. So, and the bell just rang. So if you're still in it, it's not going to affect it too much come Monday at this point. Does that make sense? CZR, Caesars. Yeah, nice looking setup here. If I was in it, I would have stayed in it. It triggered a bull vibe, and it's triggered a bunch of them right here. Not one of the better ones here. A decent entry right there, and yesterday, both good looking bull vibe signals like that, where it's bouncing, it's right towards the 7, bouncing up off of it, and today it's still running. And yeah, if I was in a trade here, I would not exit. I'd hang on to the calls. This could run up towards 25. There's a little bit, yeah, there's not a whole lot at 23, maybe a little bit at resistance at 23. Really, the next level beyond that's 25. Volumes are light, but that's okay today. So it's yeah, it's a nice trade. I don't know if you're in that, Joe. If you are, nice. It's a good entrance. Williams Sonoma, it's in a, is it in a squeeze? Yeah, yeah, definitely it's in a squeeze here, right? But with this right there, like AK, right? This is a one. Yeah, I couldn't argue an entrance here at all. Uh, it's a it's coming to a squeeze as far as the ascending triangle, but they can break out at this point any time along the way. If it gets closer and closer, the breakout's more likely to happen, but it's more bullish by far. Nice, Jimmy. Yeah, I that was one of the things Jimmy was saying. He got out of Qualcomm yesterday and back in the day at $1.16. We were looking to get to enter more, add to our position here on Qualcomm. Decided to go. I wanted to get into the financials today, so this came all the way back down 43 cents. Came back about half of what it was. The low is 72.44. So yeah, half of what it was down today. It's come back right up here to the $73 range. And this was one of the considerations for a trade today was to enter 5 more contracts here and look to play it higher. It's I think come Monday, you get the volume back, you get the traders back. I think Qualcomm will be bought back up. Thanks, RD. Thanks for the reminder. When I look at these scans, and I can show you these scans. We've looked at the scans before. Jeff's done some trainings on the scans. What I'll do on 2 of them, the Trendrider Bull and the Trendrider Bears, these I'll just show you the setup. This is the Trendrider Bear setup. It's scanning for everything. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me go to edit scan if it's going to let me. Just the group, the United States, anything traded here in the U.S. Okay. But when they go, I also do the triggered signal, the triggered stocks list that's just below the window you're looking at right now on our site. When it goes to there, they're S&P 500s. But when I'm looking at this throughout the day, I'm looking at everything because the Trendrider Bulls and the Trendrider Bears, You don't get a whole lot of them. So I want to look at all of them out there, and sometimes I can find some pretty good setups that way. But when it comes to the vibes, it's S&Ps. The vibes, the bull vibes and the bear vibes, you can find these quite a bit. And if you search for all stocks besides the S&Ps, man, it's going to bring in a lot of stocks that you don't really want to look at. You spend a lot of time there. So those are just straight S&P 500 stocks. Oh, you're not even seeing that. Let me bring that up. Yeah, the Vibe Bears and the Vibe Bulls, S&Ps only. The Trend Rider Bulls and Trend Rider Bears, I'll look at all the stocks here in the United States. But when it comes to putting those on the triggered stocks list on the site, I'll only put in the S&Ps on those two. Okay, so good question. Thanks, RD, for bringing that back up. Okay, everybody. Well, it's great to have on board again. Okay, I'm sorry. I get caught up in reading and then I stop talking. Thanks for tuning in today, everybody. Glad to have everybody on board. Have a great night, and we'll see you guys in the morning and gals in the morning. Oh, Richard, Monday morning. Yeah, let's run out and look at Schlumberger for you. Okay, Schlumberger. Zoom in on this. So, clear break of the 7 today. Yet, is there some support down here? You could argue some support at 88. Yeah, I could argue that. There's definitely some support down here. If I'm not in the trade, if my stop was on the 7, well, this is a clear break of the 7. Yesterday, not so much. Yesterday, this looks like a Qualcomm, right? Just right there at the 7. Today it's a little bit lower, but it's still above support right here, which could be some support. So I couldn't argue holding this and wait until Monday, let the volume come back here in the marketplace, and to look to run this higher here. So I know the market's closed now, so you've probably done that anyways if you're in the trade on it. As far as a bearish entry, now it's way too early to get bearish on it. It would need to push below 80, and there's a good level of support here, even at 86. So a strong push below 88, it's likely to come to 86, but I wouldn't go out and buy puts on this. No, it's got to start breaking below 88 before I'd think that way, and then I'd probably just go towards the lower Bollinger Band around that 86 mark as far as any type of support for it. Okay. As far as 4scans, you got lots of Vibe Bulls, very few of anything else. Yeah, that's really common right now. The trend riders, they come and go. Trend riders are going to get what those are designed to do is capture more explosive moves, and they don't always have to be an extension of the trend. You don't have to be going with the trend on the trend riders always. They can be reversals, but you want some other topping signals other than just a trend rider to try to help you play the downslide, like when we talked about Priceline. It was in that major run for quite a while. I'll go back here to Priceline, and it showed a little double top pattern there, and then it gave a trend rider bear signal. So I had two things going for me on this trend rider bear signal here. That's why I put it on my top 3. Had two things telling me it was likely to go down. All right. But no, it's not uncommon at all to see a lot of, especially in a bull market, see a lot of bull vibe signals and very few of the bearish signals. I mean, I'm always looking for bearish signals, and if I don't see a good one, they don't go on, right? And I saw one good one yesterday, and the other two were bull vibes, and same today, all 3 bull vibe signals. And so, yeah, it's not uncommon to see that. One thing is when the market gets pretty, like for a while there before the Fed announcement, before the big announcement of tapering, for about a week before that, maybe a week and a half before, the signals didn't get a lot of follow through. The top 3, they're typically fairly accurate, but for a while there before that Fed announcement, it was kind of hit and miss on what ran and what didn't. Even though the signals looked good, I just don't think there was any buyers at the time. We don't have anything like that right now, so I think the signals are going to be a little bit more accurate than they were just prior to the Fed announcement. All right, but there's nothing like that right now, really, that much weighing on the market right now. So I think the signals are going to be a little bit more accurate. We're going to see some more follow through on these type of signals. Doesn't mean they're all going to be 100%, right? We're still going to have winners and losers there, but overall, I think the accuracy is going to return this year. Okay. Okay. Thanks everybody. Have a great night. Now, River Rat, I like your name. Are you a whitewater rafter? You probably are with a name like that. And that's one of the things that I really like to do. I've got a couple trips planned for this summer. So, yeah, if you want to email me about it sometime, hey, I'd like to see where you run, what you do. Okay. Take care, everybody. Have a great night. We'll be back on Monday. I thought today was Monday. I mean, today's yesterday and today's just both feel like Mondays to me. So have okay, awesome, River Rat. Okay, have a great weekend, everybody. We'll see you again on Monday. Bye bye.